Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Let's Dev, where today we're continuing to work on our traditional Snake game with a little twist. Now last time we focused on the twist part of our game with the addition of enemies, body damage with said enemies, and a turret to fire at said enemies that would do damage to said body of our snake in said game. It was the necessary foundation pieces we'd need to further explore this idea to its fullest, which is where we pick things up today. Our goal for this video is to add even more features to our snake game. These will come in the form of placeable upgrades. These various upgrades will be the start of additional systems we'll hopefully introduce in the future. And assuming all goes according to plan, we should have a better idea of where this project will be heading in the future. So let's not waste any more time and get to the coding. Now in between videos, I managed to fix the relative positioning of enemies as they attach themselves to the snake's body. In order to accomplish this, I had the enemies record its direction and distance from the body at the time of collision. With this data, I was able to use GameMaker's angle difference and length diff features to maintain its relative position to the moving body part as we see here. It may seem like a waste of time to focus on this detail, but given the horde-like nature of the enemies, I felt it was necessary. So with that figured out, it was time to focus on our buildings. First up were point-related upgrade buildings, represented by a yellow triangle. Using a type variable and switch, I set up 3 different cases. These upgrades would directly relate to the player variables for points earned for body parts, starting / max HP for body parts, and how much damage the player does. So if we placed one of these upgrades and their type was 0, it would increase body points gained. Type 1 would increase body health, and type 2 would increase player's damage output. For testing purposes, I had these types chosen at random, and as you can see in the list to the left, as we place upgrade buildings, the corresponding values increase. So with our first type of building established, it was time to work on another. The second building would be an area-based support building, represented by this stop sign. Anyway, much like our upgrade building, these two would have a type variable along with a size variable. The size would determine a building's area of effect, which we would also draw for visual aid. And before going further, I had to change our points earned variable to body points to avoid confusion going forward. Next, it was back to our update script, the same script responsible for not only moving our snake, but also now triggering our support buildings. And similarly to our upgrade buildings, I used switch cases to define the behavior for each type. Type 0 would increase the amount of points we earn for our body, totally didn't mean to sound suggestive there, and type 1 would heal our snake's body. Using our size variable, we'd simply have a circle collision check determining if our snake is in vicinity of our area of effect. If so, we would execute the proper code. In type 0's case, we increase the points earned modifier and lock it down to prevent the trigger from executing more than once per tick. In type 1's case, we simply add health back to all body parts. I then added a points variable to our body object and had the script add its value based on the points earned modifier. And finally, I had the points earned modifier reset to 0. Right now, this probably makes no sense, but I promise it will in the future. For now, again, based on the list to the left, our support buildings are working as intended. And allow me to repeat myself that yes, I am totally aware that this might be hard to follow right now, but we're currently in the process of setting up future additions, body points being one of them, which are in fact different from the points earned from the upgrade buildings. Anyway, confusion aside, we had one more type of building to construct this session, represented by one heck of a thick X. This would be the assist building. Much like the buildings before, it too had type and size variables, and also a cooldown variable. Because for now, all we're doing is setting up an independent turret that can be placed in the world, which meant we first needed to check if an enemy exists, and if they do, we target the first one to enter the turret's area of effect. And if the cooldown is at 0, we fire a bullet in the direction of said enemy and initiate the cooldown timer. Rinse and repeat, easy peasy. I then rearranged the code so that it was a lot cleaner to look at and fixed the almost missable error in our distance check. And there we had it, a placeable turret. I'm not sure if having its own cooldown is a good idea or if everything, including turret cooldowns, should be tied to the update script's timing. I kind of like the idea of having everything functioning on the same universal timer, enemies aside of course, but I'm not sure if that will restrict the gameplay. But anyway, with that, it was time to call it on this session. We managed to produce 3 different types of buildings with 6 different ways to assist the player in surviving the continuous horde of enemies. And you might even be able to see where we will be going with the gameplay now. With today's additions, we now have a lot of moving parts, but we're far from finished. there's still a lot left to add and try out. But for now, that'll do it for this episode of Let's Dev. So leave a like if you enjoyed the episode, subscribe and turn on notifications if you haven't already, and leave your thoughts on our progress in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.